Hey guys, Rob here. Today, it's just gonna be more of an informational type video. Not really doing too much, but I wanted to make a video for new hikers or people that want to get into backpacking or camping, or pretty much any of the stuff that you guys kind of see that I post here on the channel with my hikes and my camping and stuff like that. So I put together a little list here. It's kind of like my little cheat sheet of things that I want to go over with you guys. This is more for beginners, people that just have no clue where to get started, or maybe even a couple of tips to kind of help you move in the direction you want to go. Disclaimer, I'm no professional or anything. I'm just sharing with you guys stuff that I've learned over my experiences being out here on trail and just getting outdoors. So hopefully it's some stuff that is beneficial to you guys, and as well as you guys can feel free to join in the comment section and share what works for you guys as well, because I'm only one person and I only have my own experiences. So we can all help each other out. So guys, comment down below your thoughts or things that you do on trail. So I'm posting this video because I've had a lot of people ask me in other videos if I can do a video like this, or people will comment and say, ask for tips or advice on certain scenarios and stuff. So I figure if I do a video like this, I can kind of cover pretty much all grounds here. So the 4 topics that I want to go over here, number 1 is going to be locations. Secondly, it's going to be gear. Third, safety. Fourth is food and stuff like that, and then the 5th one's going to be kind of miscellaneous stuff, as I said, just in case there's anything that I might have forgotten. All right, so let's just jump straight into the first category. So we have locations here, and the reason why I chose locations to be my number 1 is because, say you're watching YouTube and you see all this cool stuff where people are hiking and traveling, but maybe you don't have access to that in your area, or maybe you don't have a way to make it to those areas or areas similar. So it's important to, in my opinion, to start with the location first. What's local to you? Do you have local parks? Do you have national forests or anything like that? Do you have state preserves? What's around you? And that way, that in my opinion will help you kind of figure out what type of gear to get, because if you have to travel 3-4 hours away by car just to be able to hike a trip, then maybe you're not gonna invest too much into gear and things farther down the road. So that's why I put that as number 1. Things to help you find areas to hike if you don't have like a local park that has trails in it, or any forests or anything like that. There's an app called AllTrails, and I'm gonna put a picture up here so that way you guys can see. You guys can download it. It's a free app, and what's cool about it is that you can put in your location and it'll tell you all the stuff within a X amount of miles. You can actually put, let's say, find me a trail within 20 miles, and then it'll show you what's around the area. Or you can look up trails out of state. So it's pretty helpful. Another thing with that is you can click on the trails and you can download the trails, so that way you always have them in your phone. And then on top of that, people can leave reviews as to how difficult the trail was, if there were any obstacles, if there was a lot of water crossings, anything like that. So AllTrails is a great app to use to get started. Another good thing, and something that I use too, is Google Earth. Guys, like, I'm constantly on Google Earth looking for areas, and that's how I find some of my fishing spots, is just by spending some time scouting the area and just looking for anything that might look like water. And that helps me find trails as well. Sometimes there's things around that I had no clue about. But yeah, be sure to check with the AllTrails app and even Google, just to make sure that if you do find somewhere that looks like it's like hikeable, that you're not trespassing on somebody's land. All right, so the next category on our list here, what I think is also important, so now you have a location, you have somewhere to go to hike, you have a destination in mind. Next thing up, in my opinion, is going to be gear. Okay, and that is a very broad term, and the reason why I say that is because it all varies on your conditions and what you're willing to do, what you want to do on trail. But as far as like gear goes, my number 1 item would be a backpack. You got to have some way to carry fluids and stuff like that to keep you hydrated. You got to have a way to carry some sort of food, You know, that way you can replace calories. So yeah, so a backpack is my number one. I think a 30-liter pack would be plenty good to start out with because it's not too big and it's not too small. But yeah, I think a 30-liter would be good enough because that gives you room to grow and carry more gear if you choose to do so. Next important item is trekking poles. Now, I carry a trekking pole, and it's not really even a trekking pole, it's actually a camera monopod. And the reason why I carry that is not only because, you know, I record and stuff like that, but mainly because it's telescoping, it's beefy too. So that's one of those things to where I always, you know, it's a self-defense item if I had to use it for that, because I can quickly contract it down into the size of a baseball bat and use that if I had to use it. But yeah, I have a camera monopod. The reason why I suggest it too is because it really helps when you're walking. You know, it gives you somewhere, it gives you an extra point of contact with the ground. And especially if you have a lot of hilly areas or slopes and stuff, it really helps with that. Here, Florida, again, it's pretty flat here. There's not too much elevation or anything. So, but for me, carrying it, it really just, it gives me something to do. It occupies my mind when I'm moving. And I use it a lot for if I'm going off trail or whatever, or if an area has got too much overgrowth, I'll actually use it to like knock spider webs and stuff down. You know, we have these really big banana spiders that'll grow, you know, 5-6 inches across, and they'll be right in the middle of the trail or whatever, you know, and you won't see it, but you'll walk through the web and then you'll have it on you. So, you know, just having something to kind of knock down webs and stuff like that, clear a pathway for you. Even when I'm in really thick grass, I really do not like walking through like thick grass. I've been in some thick stuff that's been well over my waistline, and I'm 6'4". So having that trekking pole also helps me to, you know, prod and poke around in the grass and stuff. That way, if there's any wildlife or anything like that, hopefully it'll scurry off. So yeah, so having a trekking pole definitely helps. As well as, you know, later on, if you get a trekking pole tent like I did, now you already have the trekking pole. Let's see here. Next up is going to be boots. Okay, I like to wear boots when I'm hiking. I like to have like taller boots, like I would say like a mid maybe, just to give me some more ankle support. We have hogs here and they root up the ground, and the ground is just really uneven sometimes. And it's like, think of it like hole after hole after hole after hole, and your feet are just kind of just all over the place when you're walking through this stuff. And sometimes, like, I have to walk power lines. There's like big rocks that are like the size of golf balls or even bigger, and it's just like everywhere, just gravel, like big rocks though, you know. So as you're walking, your feet are kind of slipping and sliding on this stuff, and having that ankle support I think helps for me. Yeah, so if you do go with boots or any type of hiking shoe or anything like that, just make sure that it is broken in and well broken in before you take it out on trail. Reason being is that you don't want to get a brand new set of boots or shoes or whatever and start your hike and realize now you have a hot spot, you got a blister coming on, and you still got a long way back. So yeah, so wear your shoes and your boots and stuff like that. Break them in really good to where, you know, you get at least a good like 50 miles on them at least, you know, but get them broken in and comfortable, and it'll make your life a lot easier. There's 3 things that I'm going to put on here that I think are really important to carry with you when you're out, especially starting off, is a multi-tool. You know, spend some decent money and get a decent multi-tool. Multi-uses, okay? But you got to have some sort of cutting blade with you, and even pliers, in my opinion. I had a bike that I got, a cheap bike I got, like real cheap, and I took it off trail one time. I was having issues with the tire and the chain and sprocket and everything, and I actually had to fix my bike. And I was like, I think I was about 5 miles into the trail, 4 or 5 miles in, and I had to fix my bike, and I was able to take the whole tire off with my multi-tool, and that really saved me. So yeah, a multi-tool is a must-have. A headlamp, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. It could be a cheap Ozark Trail $2 headlamp, just as long as you got at least 1 or 2 extra batteries with it. And that way, in case you end up having to stay out a little bit longer than planned, you at least have some sort of hands-free lighting system. And the last thing that I'm going to list here as far as like gear items go is going to be some sort of lighter. You got to have a way to make a fire, and just having a basic cigarette lighter, you know, what are they, $2-3 at the gas station? They don't weigh anything, it's small, it's worth having and having peace of mind. All right, so we're going to move into the next category, and that's going to be safety. Okay, the number one on the safety that I have here would be maps. Know your area. Okay, make sure that you have at least a paper map with you, if not something downloaded on your phone. That way you don't get disoriented. Some of these trails can be pretty thick and hard to make your way through, and there's not always going to be a trail blaze. And what a trail blaze is, in case you don't know, it's just like an indicator, usually painted on a tree or something, or maybe a post in the ground with a color on it, and that will tell you what the trail is. So if you know you're hiking on, let's say, Orange Trail or something like that, then you'll see orange painted areas on the trees or on posts. So yeah, so have a map with you for sure. The next important thing, I think, is first aid. Anything can happen out there, and the last thing you want is to be helpless or by yourself, or somebody else gets hurt and now you have no way to help yourself out. I mean, you got to be you know, you got to be everything when you go hiking, because who's there really to watch over you? Another thing is just have a plan. Okay, you know, when you go out, have a plan where you're going. Let other people know where you're going. Leave a note with somebody if you have to. Have a plan for an emergency situation if you get hurt. Going back to the first aid there, having a plan. Another thing is just know your limits. It's easy to just keep going, and then by the time you're already too exhausted, or the heat's kicking in, it's too late by then. So know your limits, know when to stop, know when to turn around. For your first trip, definitely go small and probably even a populated area. Don't do anything primitive where you're not going to see anybody, just in case you have some sort of medical emergency. You know, the heat will get you quick, and so will dehydration as well. So make sure that you know, this is part of the safety thing as well, is you know, hydrate. You know, drink plenty of water at least the night before and well into the morning. That's what I do, is I will hydrate the night before. In early morning, as soon as I wake up early morning, I'm down in 2-3 of these, and then before I get out on trail, as I'm pulling up to the trailhead, I'll drink maybe 1 or 2 more, and then I also carry my water with me. That way I'm well hydrated to start my trip. The next thing here is going to be personal protection. I mean, I carry pepper spray, I carry a firearm, I'm allowed to, but I carry those things because you just never know. Another thing too that kind of goes with that is know the wildlife that's in your area. So look up online and check to see what kind of animals do you have. You know, what are the predators in your area? What are the things that you need to be aware of? Insects as well. You know, here we have fire ants, so you can't really set anything on the ground, and you can't really sit on the ground unless you want to get bit up. You know, and then obviously spiders and scorpions and things like that. But yeah, know what's in your area. And another good thing to keep in mind as well is go online and search the tracks of those animals, so that way when you're out on trail, you can identify what kind of animals are coming through the area. You know, learn what is canine and what's feline. There's definitely a distinctive pattern in that paw print. But yeah, so just go online and just do a bunch of research, and then when you go on trail, look at the ground. I'm always watching the ground, because I want to know what's traveling through these areas that I'm walking through as well, whether it be man or animal. And you know, you'd be surprised at all the different tracks and stuff that you can learn to identify. Same thing goes with like feces and stuff as well, is you know, look that stuff up too, because all that information will really help you out a lot. All right, so I think the last thing here on the safety is going to be like a communication device. Now, we all carry a cell phone with us. Sometimes we have service and sometimes we don't. I've definitely been out in areas where I had no service at all. But they also make little GPS devices and stuff. There's a Garmin InReach that you guys can get. It's pretty pricey though, but it's one of those things where you hit one button and you got help coming. So it's worth having and it's worth looking into. There are cheaper versions of that type of device. That's for you guys to decide on what you want to do. All right, so the next thing is going to be food. And obviously guys, that's totally up to you what you want to bring, if you even want to bring any food. But for me, I bring food with me when I go out, and they're all simple, easy things to make. Yes, I cook with a stove, and when I do cook with the stove, all my meals are easy meals. Okay, I try not to complicate things because it's just more work and it's more cleaning to have to do later. But yes, so just bring something simple and it's something that's enjoyable. It could be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, anything that's like non-perishable. So if it's hot out, you don't really have to worry about it. Another thing is electrolyte packets. You guys see in some of my videos, I always have electrolyte packets with me. And when you're hiking, you're sweating and all that salt and everything's coming out of your body, and it's important to replenish all that stuff. So having water and electrolytes is something super important. And another item that you should carry, okay? And I know all this stuff sounds like a lot, but it's really not, guys. Candy, some sort of hard candy or something that you can keep, preferably something that's not going to melt, and that's good for like a glucose booster. Like I said, a lot of the elements can really creep on you if you're not prepared, and having some sort of candy to kind of get your blood sugar back up if it starts dropping is really good. And it's also a good energy booster to kind of get you up and moving again. And most importantly, carry water, carry water, carry water. Carry extra water, okay? There's nothing worse than being really far out and knowing that you're gonna have to start like sipping on your water to conserve it because you didn't pack enough of it. Generally, if I'm not really trying to push myself, and especially if it's really hot out, I'll carry at least 1 or 2 extra liters of water with me just as a backup. Okay, so this last section here that we're going to talk about is pretty much going to be about like hiking alone or even just getting out. If it's something that you're completely unfamiliar with, and maybe you feel a little bit anxious about it, or scared or something like that because you had never been out, and just start small. Like do 1 mile or do 2 mile, do a 2 mile trip and just see, yeah. So like going out on trail, it's super peaceful, and there's really nothing to be worried about. Just think about the stuff that we talked about in this video here as far as like wildlife and stuff goes. Learn the animals in your area, that way you know what their living conditions are, when are they active, when are they not. And then when it comes to camping and stuff like that, like that's something that I feel you should work your way into. Start by hiking and getting yourself familiar with the outdoors and with a certain area that you plan on camping. A good place to start would be a campground. Go to like a campground, and you're not going to have a whole bunch of privacy or anything, and it's not going to be like primitive or whatever, but it'll get you familiar with sleeping on the ground, setting up a tent, just having fun really. And before you come to the trail system and try to do that, just get more familiar with the whole process. But those are all the things that I do. Is I just settle down, I relax, I get comfortable, and finding an area to actually camp is important. You got to feel comfortable in the area that you're going to set up camp, unless it's an emergency. But the more you explore and the more you roam around, the more you'll get a feel for which area feels the most comfortable to you. And then when you find that, set up camp there, because you'll be at a lot more ease and at peace. Most important takeaway for this video, I think, is really just to get outside, get outdoors, and go hike a little bit, to spend some time outside. It's really nice, and it's really refreshing to go on these hikes and to camp and stuff. It really just like totally resets your body, and that's why I like doing it. Get outside, enjoy nature, have fun, and I hope that this video was helpful. And like I said in the beginning, guys, comment down below, let me know what works for you guys, what doesn't work, so that way everybody on YouTube can kind of see and get ideas for everything. But yeah, I appreciate you guys as always, and if the video was helpful, hit that thumbs up for me. subscribe if you're new. I have a lot more stuff like this to cover. And yeah, so till next time, guys, hope to see you guys on the trail with me. Peace.